Well, what just happened is that Walmart has joined Microsoft in a bid to acquire TikTok, reportedly for 20 to 30 billion dollars. And it was a surprise move, and it has to do with Walmart's desire to become two things: a force in technology and reach a younger generation. And that would be a way to do it. So, of course, there's all these other companies, Oracle, Amazon, who want TikTok. But if approved, Walmart and Microsoft would have access to hundreds of millions of consumers who could buy their products or become a lucrative audience for their ads. So in the filing this week, TikTok said it has nearly 100 million monthly active US subscribers. That's up nearly 800% from January 2018. So Walmart's stock also ticked right up. But meanwhile, Trump said this week that he had banned American companies from advertising on TikTok, another sort of questionable, is he able to do that kind of move? But he doesn't worry about stuff like that. But anyway, that will be interesting because, kind of old fat people go to Walmart now. So if they want to get a younger crowd, being involved in technology will help.
Yeah, it seems like it's more obvious that that Walmart would be interested in TikTok than it is that Microsoft would.
I agree.
There's arguments for both sides, but getting a younger retail always wants a younger audience. They need to keep replenishing that pipeline, right? So so it makes a lot of sense that way. And if there's a younger generation that, if this COVID thing sticks around for a long time, which it seems like it will, then people will start forming the habit of buying online more than they would have otherwise. And
if you're already on TikTok,
yeah,
you might as well just shop there.
Yep.
So what do you got?
I have. Did you play with toys at all as a little kid? Obviously, you played with toys as a little kid. Do you play with toy cars as a little kid?
I did not have toy cars.
Okay,
I didn't.
Yeah. So I did.
I had a toy fire truck.
All right. Well, that could apply, but not very specifically in this instance. I played with toys as toy cars as a kid, and Matchbox, the little
I had those. Yeah,
I
had those.
So when you play with them as a kid, you're like, you drive them all over the place. You drive them up the leg of a table. You just imagine like you're in a sports car. So American Family Insurance is running this commercial now that plays off of that. It has a car that's being driven, and it's driving down a stairway banister. You see it go off the banister. It's driving through the shag carpet. You see the shag coming up. It drives up a leg of the table. It goes off goes on the table and splashes through a puddle of spilt milk. But it's all from the point of view of a grown man driving the car. So you're driving through the shag carpet. You're the guy, a grown man driving this car through the shag carpet and driving up the table leg and everything, all to the tune of Hall & Oates, "You Make My Dreams Come True." And it is a perfectly targeted ad for Gen X guys who have finally earned enough money to buy their dream car. So it closes with the Gen X guy in his driveway with his dream car, his like Mustang or whatever. And I thought it was a perfectly targeted ad and well done. So we'll embed it in the show notes for people to watch.
I love that. I've been seeing all these car ads, and it just seems so odd to me since no one's going anywhere. But every time, every time I'm looking at TV, there's car ad after car ad after car. I'm thinking, like, why? And anyhow, this is really, I like this story a lot. This is about the Humanity Lab, and it is a global collective of creators, storytellers, digital natives, and data miners, and they want to give back. And the fundamental purpose is to amplify, galvanize, and impact the anti-racism, pro-humanity agenda. So it was started by Veronica Marshall, who's a PR person at MSL. And she floated the idea on WhatsApp on June 2nd, and 60 people immediately agreed to participate. Though since then, they've had 6 clients. including a charter school that wants Black parents in particular to recognize that they have more options when it comes to how to educate their kids. The site for the Humanity Project says it will take action, awareness, and elections to influence society's greatest challenges, and that's why our 3 pillars are activism, education, and voting. And they want to partner with other 501c corporations like the 15% Pledge, which is an organization that asks companies to sell 15% of their products made by Black-owned companies. And so far, West Elm, Sephora, and Rent the Runway have joined that campaign. So what the Humanity Lab provides, it depends on what each individual partner needs, but some might only need a copywriter or a brand strategist, and others might need a larger team. And so they might build a website for them. But I just love the idea. They're all volunteers. And I just love the idea that they wanted to do that.
That's great. That's a great story. I don't have anything to add to that. That's just fantastic. Yeah. I must be about fast food this week or this month
Yeah,
because
really.
I seem to be talking about fast food in every past episode for the past month. And here's another one. This is from a Forbes article by Warren Schulberg, who reports that Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, one of the Yum brands, fast food brands, is dropping their finger licking good slogan in light of the pandemic safety concerns. So it's not a very good idea to bring your hand to your mouth or your face anymore. So, they're doing the right thing. They're not going to use the finger licking good slogan anymore, at least temporarily, until the plague passes.
It's a little ridiculous. If you're already eating, you can lick your fingers. They're your fingers. I could see if I was licking someone else's fingers, but I mean, if they're my fingers, why can't I?
Well, if you put your fingers on a you get your bucket of chicken from KFC. You open the door to something, and then So, Catherine Tan Gillespie is the company's chief marketing officer. There's a quote from the article: "We find ourselves in a unique situation, having an iconic slogan that doesn't quite fit the current environment." And then, according to an AP story, KFC has called its tagline "the most inappropriate slogan for 2020."
Well, at least they have a sense of humor.
Right. They've used the slogan.
Here again, you have fast food I'd never eat.
Right. Well, I've been known to sneak once a year, maybe go to KFC or Popeyes preferably, but KFC has used the slogan for 64 years, and they say that it will be back when the time is right. But obviously, it's not right now. So
that's hilarious. I do not have more good news. I have a lot of bad news. I have a couple of smiles, but good news is all yours.
All right, we are going to balance each other out because I've got plenty of good news and only one bad news. So so you can fill in on the other side. This is from a Washington Post article by Kelsey Abels about a trend on Instagram that I find fascinating, and I hadn't seen until this article. So it cites Avery Francis, who has posted graphics on Instagram about things not to say to a Black woman. And it's basically a series. You know how you swipe through, you have a series of photos that you can swipe through on an individual Instagram post. So this is that, but it's like a PowerPoint on Instagram. And so for her, she's each individual slide of a post is the things that you shouldn't say to a Black woman and why. And so people are using this technique for activism. And the article lists a bunch of different examples of people doing this. In this instance, this woman had just thrown it out. She was an HR professional based in Toronto, and she threw it up on her Instagram post and it took off. She got more than 370,000 likes on it, and so she's been doing it ever since. She has amassed a following of 80,000 followers, and they're pastel-colored text-based graphics that she creates in Canva with the messages that she wants to create. But
work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. But it's very clever. It's tactic that I hadn't seen before until this article, and you can apply it. You can apply that tactic to anything, not just activism. But great read, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes for people to see along with the accounts that are cited.
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I'm totally gonna steal it.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait.
Spotify, this is from a TechCrunch article by Sarah Perez and Ingrid London, is developing a new feature that is not yet publicly available that will help alert music fans to an artist's upcoming virtual event. So the feature was discovered by reverse engineer Jane Manchun Wong. As I said, it's not publicly available yet. She dug through the code to find this, apparently.
That's a job, a reverse engineer?
I don't know if it's a job or if that's just what they're calling her because that's what she did.
Okay.
So Spotify already works with ticketing companies, Ticketmaster, Songkick, Eventbrite, etc. So they have the partnerships in place to do the ticketing to sell for virtual events. They also obviously have the infrastructure in place for the musical side of things. So it seems like a good match. Before the plague came along, live music had obviously been a very significant part of how musicians make money at sites that earnings for live gigs could be as much as 75% of top musicians' earnings. So it's a huge chunk of musicians' things that they need to recoup when they're not doing live gigs. But interesting new feature that we'll see if it comes to pass. But smart move, I think.
Sure is. Got another?
On to worst. That's
okay. This is really plague related. Apparently, employees at some of the biggest companies in American business have been banned from sharing the fact that they have COVID and to alerting their coworkers. So this is from a Bloomberg Business Week story and a New York Times story. In Bloomberg, it was Josh Edelson, and the New York Times, it was Sapna Maheshwari. And workers at Amazon, Cargill, McDonald's, and Target all say that they've been told to keep their COVID cases quiet. The same sort of gagging is alleged in OSHA complaints, lots and lots of them, against Smithfield Foods, Urban Outfitters, General Electric. In an email that Bloomberg Business Week saw, this is really scary. Delta Airlines told its 25,000 flight attendants, please refrain from notifying other crew members or on your own about any COVID symptoms or diagnoses. At REI, Recreational Equipment Incorporated, an employee texted colleagues to say he tested positive, and he was told not to tell anybody and not to post or say anything on social media. So OSHA, at one OSHA complaint at a plastics company, Gene Extrusions, told workers not to discuss infections because they cannot afford to quarantine all of us. Most companies denied the allegations, but who do you believe? Teachers also say they're getting gag orders. And according to Business Week, at the end of July, when Florida was preparing to resume its in-person classroom, which I think is now over, the school district in Jacksonville, home county of Duval, they emailed a warning to employees. Any social media postings that would reflect badly on the district's reputation, to hell with you people who might die, may lead to disciplinary actions, according to the email, which Business Week saw. And the school district says the email wasn't meant to prevent employees from expressing their views on reopening. Well, I wonder what the email was meant to do then. In many cases, workers say their bosses have talked about employee privacy to justify the gags, including federal privacy laws such as the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. But these laws don't require companies to silence employees on safety matters. And on the contrary, the federal laws, including the ones from OSHA and the National Labor Relations Board, guarantee employees the right to communicate about and protest their job conditions. So the federal bodies have failed to, of course, make companies obey the law. So employee crackdowns on free speech, because that's what it is, threaten to mask another wave of COVID infections and make the end of the year even more deadlier than it would otherwise be. And aside from those clear issues, there are huge health implications with these policies. It's really scary.
Yeah, yeah, it's scary. It's like, yeah.
Luckily, neither of us work for a big company.
Yeah, I think, as a matter of policy, we should know about COVID infections. They don't have to be disclose who was infected, but the fact that there were infections at a certain place of business is, yeah.
They did that in my building. They said that they told us at the beginning, like somebody had COVID, but due to privacy issues, they couldn't tell us who. And then they said, we're not going to say if anybody else gets it. So several of us said, well, if somebody's on my floor and they have it, I would like to know that. Maybe I could help them. Maybe I could leave groceries for them, or maybe I could do something for them. Nope, we can't do that. And that's just untrue. So,
well, I don't know. There's a legitimate, there are HIPAA privacy laws. There's legitimate health privacy concerns that need to be.
I don't need to know who,
individual. Right?
but I want to know if I'm sharing the elevator.
Said somebody down the hall had it. I want to know who it is.
Well, because they're emptying the garbage on my floor, they're taking the elevator on my floor. I would like to know that somebody on my floor had it. I would take other precautions.
I hear what you're saying. I'm saying that I can see an employer's side where I can't disclose personally identifiable health information of one of the employees. That's wrong, and I agree with that. But we all have the right to know that we're in the presence of someone who has COVID too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this one is personally sad for me. This is from a Star and Tribune article by Rick Nelson. Izzy's ice cream institution in the Twin Cities. They're just fantastic ice cream shop, and they've been around forever. Jeff Summers and Lara Hamill are the owners. They're spouses, and they started their first ice cream shop in St. Paul and Marshall Avenue. That was closed earlier this year due to COVID. And then they had recently, a couple of years ago, opened up a shop in Minneapolis, and that too now is closing because of COVID. They are just wonderful, nicest people you'll ever meet. They had built a wonderful business. Their St. Paul shop was powered by solar power. There's an array of solar things on their roof. Yeah, I talked about them in episode many couple of years ago of their RFID system for notifying customers when their favorite flavor was in the shop. It was brilliant. We'll just refer to that in the show notes so people can see it if they're interested. When we launched that, I did the PR around it, and we had a PR availability at the store, and I was telling the reporters about my favorite flavor of Izzy's ice cream is hot brown sugar. It's caramelized brown sugar with cayenne peppers. Just fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. And one of the reporters said, "Yeah, mine too." And she was black, and so I completely missed the joke. It was completely oblivious to me, but I got it. About a year later, I was thinking about it. Oh my God! And she. I don't know whether she thought that I was maintaining my composure as a PR person, or I just was clueless and didn't get the joke. It was the latter. If she's ever listening to this, it was the latter. But it was funny.
An ice cream store, that would break my heart.
Yeah, my favorite story is I came to for a visit with Jeff for some meeting, and he was down in the dumps, and he told me why is he had, I think one of his employees was caught stealing from him, and obviously that's disappointing. But his response was, yeah, it's really a fail. It's my failing. is that I'm supposed to teach these kids, you know, how to be better, how to do right and wrong and everything. He took it personally. It was his job to form good people of his employees, and so he
What a
felt that it was
nice
like
attitude.
his fault that it happened. And I was like, oh my God, that's such a good person.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that makes me sad.
they are still in business, I should say. The shops are closing to the public. They're still selling retail, so I can still get their ice cream. Although I don't know if I'm going to be able to get hot brown sugar because it's probably not as popular as I would like it to be. But yeah, still. This is from the Reuters Institute for the Study of Journalism on the most popular podcast distribution channels. So we kind of talk about this whenever these numbers come out because they're kind of updating all the time. And this is no exception. This was done in February 2020. So pre-pandemic, kind of. Might have changed after that, but I don't think so. Which apps, websites do U.S. podcast listeners use to listen to podcasts? Spotify leads the way with 25% citing Spotify. Apple Podcasts at 20%. Google Podcasts at 16%. So the top three, those are your heavyweights. Pandora at 15%. Websites, so just listening to podcasts from a podcaster's website, streaming 11%, Audible at 10%, TuneIn 8%, and last on the list is Castbox at 5%, Stitcher, which I think used to be more popular, at 6%. So there you go. We'll put the chart in the show notes for people to see.
Happy to know we're on all of those except Castbox.
I think we're on Castbox too.
Oh, we're on Castbox. Okay.